What's up, YouTube, and welcome to, I guess today's going to be Monday's episode, and we're going to go ahead and try to take off the front suspension. Hopefully it comes off very easily. It isn't too terribly rusted, so I don't think we're going to have too much of an issue, but all this is going to end up getting upgraded to a much more modern system, including I want to get disc brakes into this. Because I used to build autocross pretty much all throughout college, and I think it'd be fun to be able to do that again. So, even though this was very modern of the time, it'd be really cool. There's kits to upgrade this to coilover suspension with disc brakes. And that will definitely make the car way more competitive. So, and of course we're going to remove the steering as well, because we're going to see what kind of options we have to upgrade that while we have it all apart. So, it's going to be a pretty straightforward episode, and ultimately it's kind of the boost that I need just to kind of get my mind off the engine. I have too much going through my mind about what we should be doing with the engine. I put a little bit of survey on the community page. If you go to the actual channel, head over to the community page. I have 2 polls going, what we should do for an engine, and I might put a temporary engine in if we go with the 455 option, because the 455 is going to be very expensive to build, and I definitely want to get this thing on the road sometime early next spring, which it's definitely a stretch goal. It won't be painted by then, but it'd be cool to at least be able to drive it around. So if that's the case, unless something drastically changes, a 455 all built up would be pretty expensive. I might just put a regular 455. Like I said, we'll stick away from that subject. And so just go to there. I have 2 polls going, and I'd like your feedback on that. So today we're just going to focus on the suspension and getting it off. Tomorrow for you guys, I'm going to see what the possibilities of doing a live stream. I might even just set my computer up down here, and or I might just use my phone. But just a kind of a question and answer thing. I want to do that at least, I don't know, maybe once a month, maybe even more. So, I don't have, what's the word? Some of the other services that people use for having questions and answers. And I think it'd be kind of fun. We'll see how many people show up. But, it's kind of a way for us to kind of pitch ideas to each other. So look forward to that tomorrow. I'll set that on my phone, and we'll say for 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Union Time. So I'll see you tomorrow as well. Well, we might as well start digging into this. So let's get this frame apart. When I actually remove the brake line from the actual assembly here, what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to cut the line itself, the rubber line, not this line, because I would like to replicate this actual setup, including a cross. So I want to keep as much of these lines intact as possible. In my opinion, or my view of the vehicle, even though I do want it to bring it more modern in certain aspects, I still want it to look like it was built this way from the manufacturer. So taking some of the cues from that really will help get it put together properly and allow us to use some of the same brackets, or at least the same placements. So other than that, the goal is to keep this in one piece, or at least as much as possible. So the first thing I'm going to do is remove the sway bar linkage, and then after that, actually I'll probably just do both sides right quick so I can take the sway bar out of the way. But I want to be able to drop the upper and lower arms and just take the whole assembly right away. I think that's going to make it so that I keep the parts together a lot better than disassembling it all and trying to store them all in their own locations. I can at least store this out in my garage, or my shed rather, or wherever else. Probably would take the wheels off, but I don't know, I haven't really decided that yet. Right now I'm just going to take it off as one assembly. As you can see right here, that's your sway bar, and this right here is actually going to be what we're going to disconnect. And by doing that, it'll actually allow this to move this right out of the way. And I think while we're right here, we should be able to just knock this cotter pin out and then take this out, so we can take the steering off from here instead of taking it off further back. And after that, it's just a matter of taking a couple bolts out, and this whole thing should fall right off. Gently. Try to make it gentle, but my hope is to be able to replace all of this with actually an updated version. There's a couple manufacturers that make them, but that will make this thing a lot more rigid. And I don't want to make it too rigid, but it's definitely going to improve the overall quality of the ride and performance. Alright guys, so the actual steering bolt is, she's on there pretty good, so I'm going to let that soak in, and if that doesn't let it go, I'll go get one of the MAP gas torches and heat it up a little bit. Maybe they'll let it free. But giving it a little tappy is not helping, and we have a lot more to do, and it's still kind of, it's getting late. I want to get this all off. So by the time you watch this, you will already notice that it's past Tuesday, so I'll have probably a Q&A. Let's think this coming up Saturday. It's way past 10 o'clock now, and I've gotten a couple bolts off. Everything on here is right seized. Everything's giving me a real hard time to get them off. So the penetrant oil is doing a great job. Just, you know, you guys know how stubborn bolts are. So it does seem like I'm gonna have to remove the bolt here and then flop it off, but if I can back these bolts off, there is heads to those bolts on this side, so I don't know if it's threaded. If I can back it out about maybe even a ½ an inch, I might get enough clearance. But I was trying to avoid taking the bolts off here because they're pretty nasty underneath there. But I'll hit them with some penetrant oil tonight and continue working on it tomorrow night. Hopefully I can get an episode to you guys this coming up Wednesday, which I guess you'll know when you get it because that's when it will be. But you have yourselves a wonderful night, and this will be a real brief segue for you guys, so have a great night, guys. Alright guys, so today's a totally another day. Not only is it another day, but it's actually 2 days after, so I just wasn't able to get to it. So I've actually posted a little, what's it called, the community section. This Friday at 8:30 we're going to be doing a live kind of like hangout section, and I'm very glad that YouTube now allows me to have live streaming, and that way we can kind of just discuss things and kind of get more acquainted with the plans and everything. I don't know, just hang out. But I had a leadership meeting yesterday, so I couldn't work on this last night. So I'm very happy though, because today I had a bit of an idea of how to be able to get this off in one piece. I mean, I could always reassemble it afterwards, but if I don't have to and I can just keep everything in one assembly, it's going to be a lot easier to hold on to it and not worry about losing parts. Mostly because it'd be nice to be able to sell this stuff, because I want to upgrade all this anyways, and we're going to do disc brakes, and so someone might be able to find use for this and help push this project forward. So my thought was, if I take these bolts out, there should be just 2 of them. I'm fairly confident there's just 2 of them, and I should be able to then just swing the whole assembly up and then just slide it out. Not that it's light, but that way I can keep it all in one piece, and I don't have to worry about damaging any of the things trying to take it apart. So that's going to be the next attempt, and hopefully that works out, because if that works out, then that one will come apart fairly easily. I say that, but so far every bolt's been pretty stubborn. Not bad, just stubborn. So, all right, we just got to keep digging on it. Hi guys, I'm sorry for interrupting this, but I have a very serious question. So this hood is, in my opinion, absolutely gorgeous. I mean, it just has... When I was a kid, my uncle passed down a bunch of Hot Wheels cars to me, and they kind of had that kind of paint war right off of it, right down to the steel, which is amazing that it's not rusted. I mean, it's absolutely amazing. And it's not perfect, it's got dings and dents, and we're putting so much time and effort into this build. I don't want it to be a rat rod. I mean, not to say I wouldn't want a rat rod down the road. It's just, to me, this car means more than just a rat rod. It's like the Supra and this, the Supra that's outside the garage there, and this car, well, that car really, but it's the two cars I've always just dreamed about owning. And it's really what it's just hard to say. Like, this is the first thing I saw when the tarp came off of it 13 years ago. It wasn't this, you know, gnarly, but I don't want to take that away. And eventually I would love to have, so ultimate goal, I'm like all over the place. My ultimate goal is to start up a custom shop down the road when I can afford it, and it'd be a cool journey to take together. And I met a guy when I first started filming the YouTube, Lou, who owns LAL Custom out in Nassau. If you like Broncos, look up LAL Customs. LAL Customs. They are phenomenal. Best Broncos I've ever seen. I'm not even a Bronco guy, and I'm like infatuated with those Broncos. You can get them you can get them finished to the point where they're a father and son project, or you can get it so that they're ready to go. And his first Bronco, the hood from it, was hanging on the wall, and I'll see if I can't find a picture of it in my whatchamacallit, my library of stuff. But not only was it hanging on the wall, but it was painted with the bald eagle's chest being the original patina, and that's kind of what this reminds me of. I would just hate to paint over this. So my thoughts are, if I can find an original style GS hood like this, and we would use that and paint that, but I really don't want to paint this. Sorry for that segue, guys. Now back to this. Oh, and big thanks, I believe it was Tim who told me to not leave it on its back parts because it could get dented and stuff, or bent and ruin the hood, and I would hate to see that. So we have it like this. I'm going to move this into the actual basement in a good safe spot sometime this week. I just have to bring it all the way around, and there's snow outside again, so we'll do that soon. But back to this. Now that we got the bolts out, there's a few things left. We'll have to see if this will now come out. If this comes out, then we should be all set to try swinging this away. We got to get this out of the way first, which shouldn't be too hard. But I really think we should be able to just do that, and then we can hold it as solid parts, and I can put this stuff out in the shed, and we can get this down to Sage Brothers down in Troy. They they'll sandblast frames, and they do a phenomenal job. They not only paint like construction sites and stuff like that, but they paint churches, they restore cast iron parts to churches, and Bill's a wonderful guy. He served in, lost part of his hand in combat, and he's just the nicest person I've really, well, I've met some of the nicest people I've ever encountered. He's definitely I'm rambling, it's getting late again, but he's definitely one of the nicest people I encountered. Especially the YouTube has definitely allowed me to meet some wonderful people, and I'm very grateful for that. And he's got a beautiful Mustang. You got it. It's one of the previous posts I did, which we'll get back to in the spring. But yeah, he'll do a phenomenal job. I don't, as I said, I tried getting a hold of him today. He's a busy guy. I'll give him a call again tomorrow. I'm sure I'll be able to talk to about what we need to do and his thoughts on everything. So I'm done talking your ear off on that. A little segue. Let's get this off, okay, guys? It's pretty straightforward. It should be pretty straightforward. Alright, so the only thing we have left is, I know the sway bar will be in the way, so we have to finish taking the sway bar off. But if I can tap this, I've had this thing soaked for 2 days now. So if I can tap this off, which, oh, it's a bad angle. Oh, that's not working. And it's awful loud to be doing that when people are trying to sleep. So I'm going to see if I can't pry on it. We're going to be... I'm not worried about damaging it. We're just going to get upgraded anyways. So we just got to get it off. I just don't want to destroy it. That's the only thing. I don't want to destroy it. Because if I don't destroy it, then maybe someone else can use it. So see what I can do. Well, I'm going to try actually doing it with the sway bar. If I can get this off, I'll just do that one. You don't need to see me do 2 of them at once. But this is now free. So I think we should be good to take this off. And then, after that, oh yeah, everything's kind of starting to come apart. In a good way, that's what we want. So, I think if I pull on it like this, oh yeah, my car stands aren't really the most amazing. So perhaps I will enlist the help of the pry bar. Let's see here. That one's totally free. Just need this one a little bit more free. Biggest problem with this frame is getting anything on stuff. It's not very easy. So, I just gotta make do with what we got here. Okay, it'll work. Try my small pry bar, get into this bolt here. Not the bolt, but where the bolt goes. See, it's not low enough. So, don't be underneath it when you do that. There's still quite a bit of spring tension on that. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot about that guy right there. Let's see. I'm replacing all the brake lines and stuff anyways, so. A little snippy. Alright guys. I've been very glad to get everything off enough for us to be able to get this sandblasted. So when we get it sandblasted, we'll be one step closer to getting the new suspension on, which I've been looking at a couple different ones. Mike Vacca, who's the gentleman who actually donated the frame, he actually sent me a bunch of links to some eBay ones, which I've been looking at, and he just fitted them on his A-body, and he says he loves them. So that's probably what we'll end up doing, because they are substantially less than some of the other brands. And I mean, if they're good, they're good. I mean, it's not like we're worried about it falling apart on us. Also, the wheel wants to spin. Yep, that actually worked very well. Now all we have to do is be very careful to not have this fall on us. turn the wheel. It'll slide down. Not too far because we don't want it to damage the innards of it. Now we get to the other side. Should be wearing steel toe boots for this, just in case, but where's the fun in that? All right. Smarter, not harder. I need to buy a new one of these. I've buggered this thing up so badly over the years. I can't use it to line bolts up anymore. All right, should be good. There we are. So, actually I won't put that there. Now that we have it off, the rest of this, I don't know exactly what we're going to need to do to upgrade to the different system. If this all stays the same, but there it is. This can now go to whoever needs it. I don't know exactly how much we would charge for it, but for now, just in case, I'm going to just store it in the shed. And we're going to do the same thing as what we did for that, to this side. It's pretty straightforward. And then after we get that off, we need to remove the back, which will be a lot easier. Just drop it and roll it out back. And then, so, you know, we have to remove all the brakes, sway bars. I want to keep all these pickups, these brackets in the same places, so that, like I said, I really do want to make it look like it was done from a manufacturer. All right, guys. Again, it's like 10 o'clock, so I'm gonna leave it at this. Actually, my GoPro's battery's about to die, and my battery backup's dead. So this is the end of this episode, guys. You have yourselves a wonderful night, and next time I see you, that side will be off, and we'll start working on the rear, and we might work on something else. I don't know. So if I seem like I'm like all over the place, I am sorry. I graduated college or high school with a focus of science and arts, believe it or not. And neither one of them are used, because now I went to school or college for engineering, but only got the associates, and then I got sidetracked with life. But when you're working on a piece of art, something I learned along when I was learning that was you don't focus in one spot, you kind of bounce around. And that way you don't lose sight of the bigger picture. You don't focus on one little detail. If you focus on one little detail, other parts can suffer. I'm not saying that's the right way of doing it, just kind of been my way of doing it. And it served me very well back when I was in college working on cars. And I took like a 10-year hiatus because life and everything, so now I'm back, and I'm so glad I am. I really love working on cars, and I'm very glad I started the YouTube channel, because I would not have been able to pick up this car. I would not have been ambitious enough to pick this car up, and I've wanted this car for so long. Well, you know what I mean, the Buick outside. And you know, sometimes you just have to be over ambitious. Take on something outside your comfort zone. If you need help, ask help. My stepbrother, I'm gonna see if he's more interested in being more of a part of the channel, because it's a lot of work for one person to be doing this. And he's very, very talented, very talented. That's what he went to college for. And especially when it comes to American Muscle, he's a very talented guy. Kevin is wonderful. He was actually here a couple times. He helped me take apart the shell that the frame came on. And so big thank you to all the people that are helping me out, whether it's Nigel, whether it's Mike, whether it's Kevin. You know, you guys are good people, and I'm very proud and grateful to have such good people that we can hang out with. And as I said, this Friday we'll do our first little hangout section. Get to know each other a little more. You know, maybe you can ask me some questions and tell me what. By all means, you know, I am not a person that doesn't like criticism. If I'm doing something wrong, call me out on it. I'm not going to get mad. I will be grateful, because if I'm doing something wrong and I can correct course before it's too late, that's what we want to do. And I've been putting a lot of thought into something about what we're going to do for the end goal. It's very expensive. Restorations are very expensive. The end goal would be to put a 455 back in here, but in the meantime, I would like to get a 455 and start rebuilding it, and that could take a long time. So I've been contemplating what options I have for this, as far as a temporary engine. It's supposed to be the 350, but that's, you know, for the amount of money to rebuild that, I might as well just rebuild the 455. So for now, at least, someday down the road, I'd love to put that on a hot rod. And guys, if you're watching this, remember, go to the community section. It's a way I'm trying to keep tabs on you guys and what you guys are thinking, and your opinions on things. Ultimately, my focus is it's my build, and I have an idea of what I want. I wanted it to be all original, but that worked out. Anyways, I'm gonna just keep jabbering, and I don't want to do that to you guys. You guys have yourself a wonderful day, and until the next episode, remember, just enjoy. Take care.